Hey Mike, it's great to have you here to chat about this Toyota Kata. And we in the Lean Enterprise China would very much like to localize this concept of this kata. I'm very, very much impressed with that. Can you give us a very brief introduction that's why you selected this term kata, and then also why you are interested in develop this behavior studies and share with the people interested in this subject?
Sure, yeah, thanks. It's good to see you again too. Nice to have the opportunity. So, well, the research we did, which started about 8 years ago, was looking into Toyota's managerial or leadership practices. And we already knew a lot about Toyota's visible factory practices by going to Toyota and benchmarking them, seeing them there and trying to bring them back. And a lot of books have been written about specific lean practices that you can observe at Toyota. Some of those books, I myself have contributed to. The thing we noticed was that Toyota was getting ongoing improvement. I guess in English we'd say continuous improvement, or they kept on improving, whereas our application of the tools, Marcus, we would tend to improve in an episodic fashion. We would make an improvement and then we would stop, and that improvement would tend to degrade. So we were interested in what is Toyota doing more on the managerial side of the house. What are they doing in addition to those visible practices that we see at Toyota that allows them to keep on improving across the entire company, across all processes, not just here and there. And what we found, it turned out the word kata, which I had never heard before, but the word kata turns out to be probably the word that fits best to describe what we found in their managerial practices, which is that they teach everyone in the organization a way of thinking and acting about achieving challenging target conditions and doing that again and again in everyday work. So at every process, every day, there's some sort of challenging target condition that one is reaching for. And this kind of practicing of a certain way of thinking and acting, which leads to a kind of a mindset in the organization, is very much what is done in sports, it's very much what is done in music, and it's actually very much what's done in martial arts. I'm not familiar with martial arts, but we found the word kata, meaning a routine that you practice so that it becomes second nature. And in fact, when we talked to some Toyota executives, we said, you know, what you're doing here, the way you manage, the way you're teaching, the way you're coaching in your organization or mentoring, it looks an awful lot like you're having people practice a kata. And the executive replied, the Toyota executive replied and said, well, actually everything we're doing here really is kind of a kata. We wish they had told us that 8 years before, or 6 years before, but it just turns out to be a very fitting word for what we found.
Great. Mike, you are the co-authors of Learning to See. That's the most important tool book, the one that we use in the lean thinking studies of that. And now the one you also write a book of Toyota Kata. What's the connection between these two books?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I think Toyota Kata is kind of a continuation of the value stream mapping idea. The connection is that the value stream map looks at the system level. So we can look across multiple processes at the value stream, so to speak, from dock to dock or beyond. Again, that's kind of called the system level. A problem we've had with value stream mapping is that once we draw our future state map, which indicates how we would like this value stream to work, how do we actually make it that way then? Just because we've drawn a future state map doesn't make it so. What the improvement kata is a means for improving or moving toward a desired condition every day at the process level, at the individual process level. So that's where they meet, Marcus. We have a future state value stream map that shows us where we want to go at the system level, and an improvement kata that everyone in the organization can learn that teaches us how to actually step by step, systematically, scientifically even, move toward that future state at the process level. I'd like to say that, for example, if you wanted to solve world hunger, now you can make a value stream map that says, we want to solve world hunger. That's great. But if you want to solve world hunger, the way it will be done is you have to ensure that there are trucks. You will have to ensure that the trucks have refrigeration. You'll have to ensure that there are roads, that the roads are paved, that the trucks have gasoline, and on and on and on. So we can have a high-level objective like a future state value stream map, but the actual step-by-step of getting there is going to happen at the process level following something like the improvement kata.
Would you categorize this kata would be more onto the field of behavior change, or to the so-called corporate culture and also the management development?
Yeah, absolutely. So behavior change, culture. What was the first word you said?
I think on that the corporate culture or the management.
Behavior change, yeah. Yes, absolutely. I mean, you practice a kata essentially to develop neural pathways to develop skill. So it's just like in sports and music, you would practice a routine over and over again so that you become good at it, so that it becomes second nature, so that it becomes reflexive or automatic, right? Now, there have been a few comments about Toyota Kata saying, gee, isn't that conditioning? And actually, I think it is. I think it is. And we have an immediate negative reaction to the idea of conditioning, right? Yet it's kind of funny because in music, of course you have to practice in order to learn your instrument and in order to learn how to play the music. In sports, of course you have to practice. Of course you have to condition yourself to become excellent or skillful at a particular sports technique. The example I like best is the scientist in the laboratory. The scientist is working according to the scientific method. The scientist has conditioned him or herself to work in a systematic scientific way. It actually makes them more creative, not less creative. So, Marcus, absolutely. We're trying to influence the organizational culture by practicing a routine or kata, which ultimately leads to behavior change or mindset change and behavior change. Now, the neat thing about the improvement kata is it's content-free, right? So we're not telling anyone, not micromanaging anyone to tell them exactly how they should solve the problem. We're only teaching them through practice how to solve problems. We're only teaching them through practice how to achieve challenging target conditions. And then you can apply it to whatever you want. So one organization may have a particular target condition, and a different organization has another target condition.
And Mike, that the one that's with the development to this, that you think the one this may totally change the way that we do the training today?
I think training and consulting, because of the findings in neuroscience, that say you actually develop skill, you actually learn by practicing. You don't learn by reading a book, which is a funny thing to say because I write books, right? You don't learn by reading a book, you don't learn by attending a seminar, you don't learn by someone talking to you. The way you learn is to physically, the way you learn skills at least, the way you learn know-how is to actually practice it yourself. Now this has implications for training, because a lot of training, here we are at a university, right? The university operates with classrooms, right? But we know that you can't develop know-how and skills in the classroom, right? So there are implications for education and training. Likewise, consulting. I mean, if your consultant comes once a month to visit you, to have you practice, that's probably not frequent enough practicing to actually change your mindset. So I think these are interesting challenges. How will we practice every day? Of course, if we're talking about practicing every day, we begin to talk about the role of the manager.
Well, Mike, thank you so much. But I think the one that we are very much interested in joining your research global-wise, so that we plan to localize this kata course in China, or this workshop, the way the one that you share your knowledge in U.S. so that we can do that in China. Do you have any advice for us? How do we start, or the one that's any expectation from us?
Well, the exciting thing for us, Marcus, is that you have a team here actually joining forces with us in the United States, where we're running the Toyota Kata course here at the University of Michigan. and so we can share that way better than anything, right? So we can do it together, and then that's a good way of sharing. So I would say it may be just a little bit like a kata, Marcus, that if you want, duplicate what we're doing here with our 3-day course. It's one piece of the picture. It's an awareness course. There has to be skill building practice after the course, i.e. we're not under any illusions that a 3-day course will suddenly make you be able to do the improvement kata. But maybe duplicate what we're doing here and then evolve it as you go forward. So it's the same with a kata. When someone practices, they follow the kata very specifically at the beginning, but once they become proficient, they then begin to evolve the kata and fit it to their particular situation. So take a look at what we're doing, give it a shot, and then evolve it for your particular situation.
We will be very interested to see when you will be coming to China to coach us to do this coaching work. So thank you very much, and we're looking forward to seeing you in China soon.
Yeah, well, I know that if I come, I will learn as much as you, and you'll be coaching me as much as I'm coaching you. So I'm looking forward to that too.
Thank you.